Hello, welcome to part 2 of my Clipstudio Paint tutorial. I hope you enjoy it.
Next thing is eraser, the erase tool. This shortcut is E, hard, soft, snap eraser, and multiple layers. I personally never use the snap eraser or any of the erasers at all, but I'm still gonna cover it quickly. As the name suggests, hard eraser erases hard, and the soft eraser erases soft. What does the multiple layers eraser do? Basically, if it's just a normal eraser, then we would just erase the thing that is on this layer. But if we use the multiple layers eraser, it's erasing everything from every layer that we have. Next thing is the Liquify tool. It's a bean! We have a few different modes. We have the push, we have the expand, the pinch, the push, left and right, and the twirl clockwise and anti-clockwise. Strength, hardness, and brush size. Push means we can drag it like goo around. Do you see that? Expanding is basically, as the name suggests, it expands everything like this. Whoa! Shrinking is basically the opposite. We're gonna shrink everything. And this is just pushing to the left. Boop, boop, boop. And this is gonna push it to the right. And this is gonna swirl it. For that, I'm just gonna go with the big one. As you can see, we're swirling it and we can just do this. This is mainly used for sketches, when I sketch at least. I love Liquify tool. Next thing is the subtool fill. Here it's the same thing basically that we just had with the auto selected tool. We have refer only to editing layer. That means it's only gonna refer to the editing layer, of course. I'm just gonna show you what it does. Ta-da! Now it's red. This is referring to other layers. I think I don't need to explain that one. We have enclose and fill. This is really neat when you want to have the lasso tool and then fill everything that's inside that. You need to play around with the tool properties a little bit. And this is paint unfilled areas that I actually have never used. Okay, then we can set a target color, aka a rule. Treat semi-transparent as transparent. So we're gonna paint everything that is semi-transparent as the color. Let's just real quickly go over the tool properties for that. We have close the gap. As you can see, now it treats it as if it's closed. I sometimes use it when I want to color in sketches, but I am too lazy to actually finish and close the gaps. Here we have the tolerance, sets the range of color considered as the same color. I'm just gonna show you another example of that. Let's just say, okay, we want this, but then we're just gonna do this. I want to refer to it. Then of course it's only that. But what if we want the tolerance to be a bit higher? Then suddenly it's both of these colors. Now the tolerance of the whiteness of the range of the color is much higher. And that means both of these colors that are the same hue but different value are now together. But for example, I'm just gonna show you something more. What if you want both of these at the same time? You could either do this and then question yourself, okay, what if I press this? What can I do? You just press shift, and do you see this little plus sign there? Now, if we click anything, and of course we have to press the button and keep holding it until we're done, it shows us we can have both of these now in our selection. If we want to delete something from our selection, we just have to press the left alt. And I'm gonna show you another trick. You not only can do this, you can also do the following if you have more than 2 colors, because of course it's a little bit annoying to do that every time, right? I hope everybody has some notes ready, because I'm gonna click on the outside of the thing that I want to have selected. And as we've learned from the tool thingy, we can now invert our selected area. And now everything that was outside of the area that we selected is now inside. So that means everything that we drew here is now selected. And then we have our area scaling. This basically just scales our area up and down. For example, like if we use this, but then there's still like this gap there, we can increase it a little bit, and then we have a gradient. We have the gradient and we have freeform gradient. I'm just gonna talk about the gradient thing. Here, it's foreground to transparent. That means our first color is the foreground basically, and transparent is obviously transparent. We just want a gradient. We're just gonna click and drag. We're not gonna let go until we are at the end of our gradients. For example, if we're gonna do this, then the gradient is gonna be until here, and then here it's gonna be transparent. This is the beginning of our gradients. That means it's 100% the color, and at the end of our gradients is minus 100. But what if I just do this? Well, then we have a small gradient. We can do this And this is pretty nice. I think you should try it out yourself. Here we have foreground to background. This is our first color. This is our second color. The foreground is our first color. Background is our second color. That means we're gonna have a green and red gradient now. I'm gonna show you another shortcut that's also pretty cool. Let's just drag, hold it, and press Shift. Now we have like an angle here, or we can do it straight. That's really neat. So I don't have to be like, is it straight? Is it straight? Nope, we just have to press Shift and up our mouse a little bit, because like if you just press Shift and don't do anything, it's not gonna do it. You have to press Shift and then move your mouse up a little bit. Ta-da! And then we have the stripes, the background stripes. I personally like the rainbow. I did it myself. And we have the gradient eraser. That is pretty cool, because what if we want a different gradient? It's basically erasing in a gradient, which is pretty cool. Like, see? Wee. The next thing is figures. We have our straight line. We can also do the same with the straight line. See? So it's really straight. We have our curve tool that you click once and it doesn't work. Why? This happened to me a couple of times when I was learning this program. You actually have to click, hold it. If you want to have it straight, you have to press Shift and then let go. And now you can actually use the tool and have your curve. We have the polyline. This is just basically a line that never ends. And if you're done with the polyline but don't want to go back to the original point, you just have to press Enter. It's gonna do this. And for the continuous curve, you click once and don't hold it. Then you click here and hold it on the second point. And now you can move it like this. And if you're already finished with it, you can just press Enter again. Then we have the Bezier curve. Bezier curve is basically the same. I don't like using these. Now it looks like a chicken. Oh my god! Look at this little baby. Little baby. And that's it for direct drawing tools, I think. Of course, then we're gonna have the rectangle. Oh, yeah, that's right. You can also fill the lines. You have like create fill. That means we have a rectangle completely filled with that. Then we just have the lines. So we have just the rectangle lines, and then we have both. Create both line and fill. That means our first color is the outside of it and our second color is the inside of it. Looks pretty ugly. Of course, we can also round our corners. Here you can click it on and off. If you only want to have a rectangle that is like this, that is like very rectangular, then you can just do that. But if you want to have a smooth rectangle, you can just click this button, increase the roundness of corners, and as you can see, Among Us. Among Us. And then we have the brush size and the opacity. And of course we have the
anti-aliasing.
I don't really do something with the brush shape. For example, if we have different things, we can just do this. For example, if we want to have something with dots, we can just do this. And then we have that. Now it's a halo Amogus. Hallelujah. Next one is ellipse. This is basically the same as the rectangle. We can make an ellipse. If you just want to make a circle, we're gonna click and drag. But you don't have to worry about the sizes. You can just press Shift again and we have a perfect circle again. Also, if you're using the ellipse tool and drag it, you have to press again because the tool actually gives you the ability to adjust the angle after you drew it. Of course, you can turn it off with this little button here. And here, of course, we have our things like brush size, opacity, and
anti-aliasing.
And the brush shape that was hidden behind this thingy. Then we have the frame border tool. That's mainly used for people that create comics. I personally never draw this because I don't draw a lot of comics, so I don't use it a lot. But it's creating a frame. It's creating a cell for our comic. As you can see on the right there, suddenly something popped up. We have something really cool here because you don't need to be careful about not drawing outside of the box. No, you can just click on this layer here that got inside this layer and you can draw and you don't have to worry of drawing outside the box. And of course we have a polyline frame and we have a frame border pen. That means anything that we want to have as a frame is possible. This also looks like a duck. Why does everything look like a duck? Oh yeah, and if you want to move it, you can press Ctrl on the anchor points. Or if you want to move it whole, you just click on a transparent thingy and move it like this. You can also turn it or make it smaller. Whoop, boop, 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 boop. Okay, let's just say we're gonna use the cut frame border tool. Now we can divide the frame folder. Let's just try that. As you can see, now we have two different frames. The purple is where we can draw, and the white is where we can draw. We have basically created a folder for each of these cells. So we now have this, and we have this. Then we have the ruler. We have a lot of rulers, but I mainly use the symmetric ruler. We have linear, curve, figure, ruler pen, special ruler, guide, perspective ruler, and symmetrical ruler. I love to use the symmetrical ruler. Basically, we can just do this. But if we want to have it straight, of course, we need to press Shift. Ta-da! And now we have a symmetric ruler. What actually does a symmetric ruler do? Well, it does this. It's a fish. I don't actually... Wow! Wait, it looks a little bit like an octopus. You can also have multiple lines. What if we want to draw a mandala? And then click on it again. And now we have overlapping symmetrical rulers. Now I can basically draw mandalas and nice little patterns. That's sometimes really cool for making symbols. And what if we don't want to have this on our layer again? Well, then we're just gonna go over there and press on our layers. We're just gonna right click and then delete ruler. Of course, we can also undo the show ruler. Then it's basically deactivated without actually deleting it. And then you just need to click on it with the left click and it's there again. But if we want to delete the ruler, we're just gonna press on delete ruler and then it's gone. Next is the text tool. That's pretty easy to understand, I think. You just click on it and then type. The color of the things that you type is the first color that you have here. So if, for example, you want something dark, you just change the color. What if we want to change the green already? Do I need to type it again? You don't need to do that, actually. You just select this and then choose the color that you want. And ta-da! You can change the color of your thing. But then you ask yourself, what if I want to make it a little bit bigger? Well, then over there, the tool property, size. Whoop, boop, 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 boop. And then we have our styles like bold, italic, underlined, and strikeout. And of course, our font. My favorite font is Fredoka 1. I love this so much. It's my favorite! It's so amazing! I might do another video about the text tool. Oh yeah, and it also creates you another layer. A text layer that you always can edit. You don't need to worry what you type because you always can edit it. For example, like what if we have too many D's? Alright, we're gonna press on OK and ta-da! Let's just check out the circular text tool. Of course, as the name suggests, it's a circular tool. If we want to move it around, we have to click on this. And if we want to make it bigger, just gonna use this. Clicking on the side again. And if you want to make the size bigger, you always have to select this thing that you just typed. You not only can do this, but you can also do Control A, and then we can change the size. Circular tool. Wee, 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 wee. The next thing is the speech bubble. I actually never use that because I don't make comics. Make the second color a white and this a black. Our speech bubbles are, as the name suggests, speech bubbles where you can type in text. Now the text thing is on the same as the speech bubble, aka the balloon. We have the balloon pen, of course, as the name suggests. We are making a speech bubble with our own thing. But if we don't want to draw the balloon tail, let's just say we're just gonna do this and we can just have a balloon tail. This is really awesome because, like, what if we do this rounded thing? Then we can just drag it down there. It's a speech bubble. As you saw right now, when I just overlap these ones, it's not gonna become another speech bubble on top of that. For that, we need a new layer. All right, then we have the focus lines that I actually also never use. It creates stuff like that. Also probably for speech bubbles. Let's just delete this. Then I think we're done with the speech bubble. Next thing is correct lines. I'm gonna draw a line and a second line. But now I'm like, damn it. This line is way too thin. I want it more thick like this. I probably have to redraw it. Nope, you don't have to. You just can click on adjust line width and choose if you want to narrow it or thicken it. Well, if I just want to thicken it a little bit, well, then we're just gonna draw on it and then it becomes automatically thicker. Let's just go with this. We can go higher and higher. We can go 10 and then it just like becoming thicker and thicker.
Damn, boy, he's thick.
You can also narrow it, and always the thing that you cover, that you color with your pen, will be shrunk down. Then we have the remove dust thing, which is sometimes useful, I think. What if we accidentally like drew tiny little dots on our canvas? Does that mean we have to erase every single one of them? We can probably use a tool for that. We're just gonna check, okay, dust size. This is the dust size. It doesn't even have to be that big, I think. It just did it. Okay. Or we can make it a little bit thicker. We can always change the things. See, now everything that we just accidentally put on is gone. Let's just say we have something like this and then we have gaps in our drawing. That's annoying, right? Then we can just go on the remove dust thing and then it fills it with the surrounding color. Of course, we can increase the dust size, so this is also filled. Well, then we're just gonna increase it even further. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not. And then it's just selecting all of our little dust things, which I personally don't think is really that useful, but anyway, that's it almost for this side. We also covered these, the second color and the third color, the first and the second color. Then we can switch with X. Then we can turn any pencil that we have into an eraser with the C and then back. You can also press X if you want to. And then we have the color wheel. Of course, here you can choose any color that you want. You can also switch the color wheel to this one if you just click on the switch color field with HSV color space. I personally like to use it like this. And right next to that are our color palettes. Now, I'm probably gonna cover it a little bit later and not now. We have a lot of stuff that I actually don't use, except this. This shows you the colors that we just used. This is sometimes really useful. And then we have that, but I don't really use that one. I just stick with my color wheel all of the time. All right.
Thank you so much for watching part 2 of my Clipstudio Paint tutorial. See you in the next part. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!